lot of the folks, probably most of the folks that I know of that have told me I'm not into politics, vote. And so, and pretty much all the people that tell me they're not into politics vote the same way too. So they are admittedly uninformed on one hand, but they also think that they are right in their opinions and conclusions and perpetuate the thing that they claim that they hate. How often do you just get sick of politics? I know a lot, I do a lot of times, and I've heard people over the years, you probably have too, maybe you've said it. Yeah, I'm just not into politics, and I just can't stand listening and watching that garbage. I understand that. I understand that totally. Because I get tired of it too, and definitely you don't want to consume too much of those things. Um, I have in the past got into different seasons in which I consumed a lot of news. I think was it Mark Twain, I believe, that said, if you don't watch the news or read the news, you're uninformed, and if you do read the news, you're misinformed. And so sometimes there's a lot of truth in that. However, a lot of the folks, probably most of the folks that I know of that have told me I'm not into politics, vote. And so, and pretty much all the people that tell me they're not into politics vote the same way too. So they are admittedly uninformed on one hand, but they also think that they are right in their opinions and conclusions and perpetuate the thing that they claim that they hate. There was a few years ago, I was talking to a guy in law enforcement, and I've run into a couple of maybe more than a couple of law enforcement guys that have essentially said the same thing, that they're not into politics. I find that really bizarre, and I was sort of amazed by the irony and the cognitive dissonance, because when we talk about politicians, when we talk about politics, it's related directly to the word police. What is police? Police is law enforcement. They're policy enforcement. And so what we call politics, which is people that legislate policy, when we talk about policy, we're talking about things that have to do, that pertain to values, to morality and ethics. And so you are choosing to either ignore it all and let other people decide what they believe is the most moral, ethical policy, and voting their values, or a lot of these people, like I said, are uninformed. They don't know what's going on, and probably misinformed and uninformed, and they're going out and voting, and they don't even know what the policy really is that's being dealt with. And so I found it sort of humorous, I guess, in a dark way, and ironic, that somebody whose profession is policy enforcement doesn't put value or seem to understand the importance of politics. Because what is happening there, and what people are voting for, and what these people are voting for, they're voting for laws and all of this. Well, I think one of these same law enforcement guys that I was talking to, the conversation, he said something about, oh, that's what it was. He said, yeah, I'm not too into religion or politics. I I base my opinions on empirical science, he thought. And I said, well, that's interesting. um, because how do you think, did science just hatch out yesterday and become this thing called science uh, that apparently he sort of on some level saw as infallible? No, science evolved from philosophy. Science evolved from philosophy, and philosophy evolved from religion. And it's not that neat as that, but basically, religion and philosophy and these things ultimately formed what we have now that's called science. Most of the scientists of not too long ago were philosophers and theologians. And so it's just interesting now, a lot of the rhetoric that you hear people say, well, I'm not into politics and this and that. They don't think about the implications that we're, and again, the law enforcement, the police, the policy enforcement people, they are going out and enforcing laws, whether they're right or wrong, whether they're moral or immoral, ethical, unethical. Um, if you believe that it's wrong as a law enforcement agent to go in and arrest people that are attending worship services because they don't have certain shots, or they do not are not wearing a mask, or the city says that they can't meet, while at the same time allow people to go out and protest and riot. And so you're going to just follow orders there, or you're more than likely you're going to be enforcing the policy. That's what your job is. You're going to be enforcing the policy that has been determined, whether that is good, evil, right, or wrong, or any of that. And so the next time you hear someone say that they're not into politics, or if you say that and you think that, well, I'm not into politics, it's politics is policy, which is laws about right and wrong, good and bad. Abortion is politics. Gay marriage is politics. Forced vaccinations is politics. All of that. Yeah, it's much more than that, but politics is a serious thing. And just to, a lot of times, these debates are won and lost based upon the rhetoric and the terminology. If you let your opponent define terms, you're already beat. And usually conservatives are not that good at terminology. Whoever controls the language controls the argument and controls the thinking, and thus ultimately the behavior. And so politics matters. It matters in that what we're talking about is legislation of morality. And so a lot of those on the left, I know over a few years ago, and they probably still, I haven't heard it in a long time, they used to say you can't legislate morality. Well, any type of legislation is doing that. It's legislating a morality or an immorality or somewhere on the spectrum. It's someone's morality that's being legislated. And whether it is religious or anti-religious, it is a morality or what somebody feels to be right or wrong. And so if you decide to check out, and I know it's easy to sometimes to just want to do that with all of the confusion and with all of the bickering and fighting, we don't want to deal with it that way. But at the same time, we don't want to bury our heads in the sand, and it's good that we try to stay active and not let this flood of evil and deception just consume us or the world. We need voices. We need people to stand up and speak the truth in this hour and in this dark world. We'll see you next time.
Hey, if you like this video, please click like and subscribe to be notified whenever we release new content, and to help other people find us out there on the vast plains of YouTube land. If you have a question or a topic you'd like for us to do a video about, just leave it in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Later, y'all.